Okay, hi everybody. It's Makeover Monday, week 47. We're looking at America's growing debt today, and I'm happy to have all of you join me. This is my 1000th Tableau Public visualization, or it will be, assuming I come up with something. And I'm really excited about it. It's been a long journey for me over 13 years, and I've loved every minute of it. I do believe that you can actually see me on camera today. So if you can, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's take a look at the original visualization. This is by, let's see, it comes from Visual Capitalist, and it's looking at why America's debt can't stop growing. Okay, so let me go to the original. I'm going to go to the original chart because I think it'll probably look a bit better. All right, 2 trillion and counting. Wow, that's pretty scary. So we've got this gigantic viz here. Okay, pretty simple. They've got the gross domestic product on the line chart. You can see it dropping there, COVID related, I'm sure. And then we have the debt, which continues to go up despite COVID. So I do like the overall design of the graph. Okay, and they're both on the same scale, which is good. And we can see they've got a nice little indicator here for the global financial crisis. I like how they've put the most recent year in a slightly lighter color of red. I think that looks pretty good. Nice use of, or they did well including their source. Okay, and then some key facts at the top. Okay, since the global America's financial crisis, America's debt has often grown at a faster rate than GDP, and there's a few reasons for that. By April 2020, the debt surpassed GDP by almost 18%. So that basically means that we're not producing enough in our economy to pay off the debt. Not good. Think of that as like being underwater on your credit cards. All right, and then it looks like it goes into a bit of a breakdown. Okay, so we've got, so from 1998 to 2001, you can see we actually had a surplus. So that's good, but this is spending versus revenues, which is not what we're looking at. That's not what we're looking at either. Okay, and then we've got a bit of an article here. Okay. So since 2008, America's national debt has surged nearly 200%, reaching 27 trillion as of October 2020. To gain a better understanding, okay. So America's national debt has surged nearly 200% since 2008. So if we go to 2008 here, it looks like it's about, I don't know if I had to guess, about 9 trillion. And you can see the explosion in the amount of debt. Okay, so that's a good fact to keep a hold of there. This is just a chart, so debt as a percent of GDP. Okay, so that might be a calculation we want to create. Budget, okay. Okay, so the first deficit came because of a 787 billion American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. That's basically when they bailed out Wall Street and didn't help anybody else. And then the same thing kind of happened again this year. They pretended like they were helping the everyday person, but they actually just gave tax breaks and incentives to businesses and the billionaires. Okay, anything else useful on here? Okay, the general consensus on that large fiscal stimulus was effective in speeding up the consequent recovery. Okay. Likely many Americans would support the idea of running large deficits to boost the economy. I'm not particularly surprised in that, given the amount of debt that the average American has. Americans tend to think debt is good. Well, I shouldn't say tend. I wouldn't be surprised if Americans think debt is good, even though it's not. All you're doing is paying somebody else back. So you should never have any debt. And don't let anybody ever tell you that debt is good. It's not. You're much better off buying a house with cash than you are borrowing somebody else's money to do it and giving them money to let you live in it. Okay. Okay, so that's about it. So the one key fact that I really liked there was this one. So since Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste that. Let me see. So let me just start. I'll just stick it over here on my notepad. Let me see here. And then, okay. Right. And then maybe this one. Okay, I'm just copying some of this text so I have it for reference later on. Okay, the other thing that I forgot to remind you about is that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. UK time, there is a Ask Me Anything. So I figured, given I've hit this kind of milestone, I'm leaving it up to you all to ask me anything. There is a link to the Google form on my Twitter feed, and also if you look at the description for the live event for tomorrow, you'll also see the link in there. So feel free to post a question, leave your name. If you don't, we're probably going to ignore it, but Eva's going to host it and ask her favorite question, so it should be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's look at the data then. So okay, so we have quarterly data, we have our GDP, and then we have our total debt. So I'm going to first off just rename this as GDP. And then I think it was like that. And then this one I'm going to, what are they calling it over here? So they're calling it just total public debt. Okay, so we'll leave that like that. Now, the first thing I knew is if I want to compare these two, then I need to get rid of these nulls. So it doesn't really make sense to compare the GDP to a number that doesn't exist. So I'm going to start by filtering out the total public debt when it's not null. So up here in the upper right, there's a little filters button, and that's going to add a data source filter. So I'm going to go to total public debt. I'm going to go to special and choose non-null values. That's going to basically exclude the nulls. And there we go. So now the data starts as of 1966, and it ends in after Q2 of 2020. So I could keep those if I wanted to, but I'm going to choose not to, at least for now. All right. So yeah, let's first take a look at the data. We have, looks like we've got years all the way until 2020, and if I look at the GDP, we've got this big dip. Obviously because of COVID, and then we've got the debt, which follows a GDP, total public debt. Now that doesn't look correct. Oh, it's because it's only 2 quarters, yeah. So I need to split that out to quarters and entire view. Come on, there we go. And we get something like that, which doesn't look very good. So I'm going to change this to continuous quarters. Okay, and we can see that debt versus GDP, the GDP is dropping, the debt keeps increasing. Okay, so what are some different ways that we could visualize? Let's see, I don't want to do that. Quit. Let's see, over here. So let's see, so I'm going to look at, I've got a list of time series ways to visualize time series data. So if I can find that, I can just start walking through some of those. Bear with me for a second. What did I do with that? Let me just search time series. Okay, visualizing time series data. Okay, so we've got this view. So let's just duplicate that. Come on. Come on, Tableau. Wow, this is annoying. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a combined axis view. Okay, so what's going on here? Why is this? Is that right? 20K. Let's see. So the debt is in millions. Let me go back over here to the original. So the debt is that. The GDP is, okay, so something looks a bit weird with the data. Let me see. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, why does the data look a bit strange here? So this should be closer to 19.5 trillion. So the numbers look like they've come out a bit weird. So let me go to, where's the data source? So I think it's the, so this column is the GDP. So the debt looks correct, I think. So the debt looks, so the debt, yeah, but the GDP looks like it looks like it's off. I think I need to clean something up here. So I'm going to go to that. No, sorry, it was the GDP numbers. So GDP. Okay. So, okay, because that's in billions. Ah, okay. I wonder how many people made that mistake this week. All right. So, okay. So, where are we here? So this actually needs to be. So I'm gonna just let me just rename this field. I'm gonna reset it, and then I'm going to create a new calculator. So GDP, and I'm just going to, so the GDP should be multiplied by a billion. Okay, so I'm going to take the GDP and multiply it by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, but this actually should just be, rename, this should be billions. I wonder how many people have messed that up this week. Actually, I think the name they call it is BN. Okay, and then the total debt, I'll just call it debt, will be that times 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let me try this instead. So let me delete this sheet and go back, and debt will go here, GDP here. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Okay, so let me duplicate that, and on this sheet now I'm going to combine them, and we can see where they crisscross, which is pretty cool. And you can see we've got a couple periods where the debt exceeded, but then it came back down, and ever since it looks like around 2015 the debt has exceeded the GDP. Sad. Okay. Very good. So let's just keep going through some of these. Okay. Yep. All right. Okay, so we could maybe look at the, let me just duplicate this again. And we could maybe do something like, let's see, percent difference. But I want to make a percent difference relative to the first. And then add table calc, percent difference from the first. Okay, so this is telling us how quickly the debt is growing versus the GDP. So the GDP's been pretty consistent. We had a dip here in 2008 and 9 with the global financial crisis, and then this dip here. But you can see the borrowing has really, really escalated. Okay, so this is change since 1966. I think it's Q1 1966. Q1. All right. Okay, so let's duplicate, and this time let's look at deviation to the average. Okay, maybe I'll just look at the difference between the two. So I think it's called, what do they call the ratio here back in this? I think it was debt as a percent of GDP. So that's, let me go back here. Let me clear the table calc. And let's create a new calculated field. debt, what does it say again? Debt as percent of GDP. So we want to look at the debt, sum of the debt divided by the sum of the GDP. And let's put that on the measure row, measure values instead. Oh, that looks pretty cool. So default properties, number format. Let's make it a percentage to 0 decimals. Okay, maybe I'll make it, well, I can make it 1 decimal later, but that's pretty neat. It's now showing us, if I put a reference line in here, oops, if I put a reference line in here at 1 for 100%, let me format that, make it like maybe a thicker black line. That shows you where it's switched between one and the other. So I could color code this line. So if I put, let's see, so I'm just going to do debt over 100%. So I'm going to do 1 minus, and then the debt versus the GDP, and put that on color. So now I can see my 2 colors, how it changes. So yeah, that's pretty terrible. Show mark labels, and max. Okay, so it was lowest in 1981, and it's now highest in 2020. That's exciting. So I don't think I have. I thought I had an American flag color palette. Let's just do red and blue, and let's reverse those. No, we want red to be bad. Okay, there we go. Anyway, okay, so this is debt as percent of GDP. Okay, and maybe let's see what are some of the other charts here. Change versus surge, moving average. Okay, don't really need to do a moving average on this data set. Cumulative area chart. Okay, so we could, you know, let's see, how would this look as an area chart? Oh, I saw Yanning Wang do something that looked great today. It was this same chart. Let me just duplicate that. But she made an area chart that filled in between 100%. So it filled in kind of this gray space here and then the gray space on the end. So to do that, you would want to do, so I'm just going to call it area chart shading. Terrible calculation name, but it's the debt minus 1. So that's going to, now if I want to put this on the second shelf, and I want to make this an area chart. I'm going to get rid of the labels, and I'm going to just get rid of the color. And now if I make those a dual axis, and I do not want to synchronize. Let's see, so what is wrong here? So that's 0, 0. Oh, I think I did this wrong, so I need to, is it +1? No, how the hell did she do this? Shoot. It takes this shape, so it takes that shape, but it's not filling it in correctly, so let's see, so if I edit this, let's do -1 on that. Nope, other way around. There we go. So all I did was just kind of move the fields around. So let's move that one to the back and synchronize. And then on this line chart, we could maybe, we could even get rid of the colors if you want. So something like that. Maybe make this one gray. And then you can see, kind of it fills in the gaps between the two, between the kind of reference line. So what I should probably do, so if I switch that back, and then this one, if I add 1, there we go. Nope, but see that that now is messing up. It's now not shading below the 100%. Oh shoot, how did she do that? Well, I'll just leave it like that for now. It's fine. But I'm not going to go with that in the end anyway, because that was her idea, but I thought it looked really cool. I think, let me see if I still have it here. Yeah, so maybe I could just look at how she did it real quick. That's one of the great reasons, or one of the great use cases for Tableau Public, is you can look at other people's work and see how they built things. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so Denise was saying maybe I need to do it on one that is the ratio and not the dollars. That could be it, but I'm not sure. Sorry, it's very slow to load. Okay, so, geez, man. Whenever I do the live streams, it's really slow, so sorry about that. Yeah, so she's got percent GDP. So this is the same calculation I have. Total debt. Yes, that's fine. And then this one is that minus 1. Yep. So show header. Ah, okay, so she pinned the axis. So that's why it doesn't match. So she must have manually selected it until it met. So if I like unpin the axis here, it should throw it back off. Oh, it's not too bad. Oh, go away. Why is mine different? That's weird. So, oh, okay. So if I look at mine, it goes like that. But if I get rid of that, but why is this? So undo the synchronize. But for some reason it's not lining up. That's really annoying. So debt as percent of GDP. And then this one is debt as percent of GDP minus 1, which is what I did. Debt as percent minus 1. Well, isn't that annoying? Okay, I'll just leave it like that for now. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Okay, so we did the area chart. I mean, we could maybe even do like an overlapping area chart. So if I look at quarters, continuous quarters, and so let's do maybe debt and GDP. I could maybe make them both area charts. Now that's going to stack them up, so I'm going to go up to analysis on the menu, stack marks, and turn them off. And then what I could do here is if I make that 100%, and let me swap the order. Let's see, so if I make the debt color like a gray, what does that do? Okay, so that's going to do that, and then I want to reverse the order of them, and that doesn't help. Okay, I was wondering if it might kind of show through, maybe if I put the opacity back on. Okay, yeah, that looks terrible. So we won't do that. Okay, I'm just looking at my different, okay, we could maybe look at, let's see, there aren't too many options with this particular data set, so maybe let's look at maybe a heat map. So let's do quarter and year, and let's put debt as percent of GDP on color, and let's make it fit width. Oops, fit width. Okay. And if I do something like this, I usually put a border on to make it look a bit easier to look at. So debt as percent of GDP. So I'm going to set my default number format for this. So debt as percent of GDP, default properties, color. I said number format, I meant color. I want it to be, let's see, red, blue, diverging. I'll use the Makeover Monday color palette. And I want the middle point to be 1, because that's where it crosses. Here we go. So now we can see, maybe I'll do full extent of the data. So now we can see where it's starting to swap over. Now that's not the most exciting visualization ever. So yeah, that's not very good. Okay, maybe we can look at, so we looked at just a regular line chart, but we could swap these around and look at a cycle plot. So I'm going to stick with percent of GDP. No, let me just do, yeah, let's do that for now. I'm going to make the area continuous. And now we can see how are the years changing by quarter. So is there any particular quarter that is particularly volatile? They all look like they follow a pretty similar pattern. So if I take quarter and put it on color, you'll see they all sort of follow the same pattern. Okay, so nothing particularly bad there. So I'm going to duplicate that and move the quarter to color like I just showed a second ago. So they all follow about the same range except for this big outlier here at Q2. Now that's, I imagine, largely driven by the stimulus. If I look at the same thing as debt, so that follows GDP, that follows. Okay, that's what I would expect. Okay, so that's that. That's kind of a spark line. We could look at, maybe we allow the user to, let's see, maybe compare 2 years. So no, that's not going to be very, we could do it anyway. So choose a year, and let's make an integer display format. And let's say they start with, I don't know, 1980. And let's duplicate that and call this choose a year, choose another year. And let's say this one is, I don't know, 2016. Oh, I don't want to do that though, because that's not going to give me a year and a quarter. So yeah, so let's undo that twice. I was going to allow them to pick maybe 2 quarters to compare. So the idea I was thinking is if they have like a range of dates, let's say something like that maybe, and they want to just compare the dates within that range. So let's say they want to just, you know, shade this section or something like that, but that's not going to look very good, so forget that. Okay. Okay, a comment chart wouldn't be very good. A slope graph probably wouldn't be really good. Bump chart. Okay, a lot of these aren't really particularly useful, so I'm going to go out to my favorite chart guides, see if there's any other ideas. So chart chooser, and I'll link to all these. I use these quite a bit. And let's see what we can find out here. So choose a chart. Choose a chart. So they're not really categories, but let's see what is here anyway. Bar chart, floating bar, stacked, lollipop. I mean, I guess you technically probably could do something like, not really like a bullet graph, but maybe you could do, let's say, continuous quarters. You know what, just to make this easier for myself, I'm going to right click on this field and create a custom date. And I'm just going to call it, well, I can't call it quarters, so I'll call it quarter space. And let's do quarters and date value. So now when I drag this in, it's automatically at the quarter level, which is, I like a lot better. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so we could look at maybe GDP. Let's make it bars. Let me make this discrete. Okay, entire view. And then we could compare it to, so let's put, that's GDP, let's put debt on detail, and then bring on a reference line for every cell, which means every bar. and I want to compare it to the debt. So this gives us something similar to what we had before. Get rid of that. And you can see we now have our lines. So let me actually format the reference line. Let me make it darker so we can see it. Okay. I wonder if we could do fill below. Oh, that just shades the area in the back. Okay, so none. Yeah. Okay. So what I was thinking was, can we just make a comparison? So debt exceeds, or no, I just say debt greater than GDP. And I'm just going to say sum of debt is greater than sum of GDP. And I'm going to put that on color. And now we should see a couple bars color coded. Yeah, but maybe I don't even need the reference line now. So remove reference line. And we can see when the debt has exceeded the GDP. Now this isn't too bad. So let's go to color palette here. Maybe we should pick orange for Trump's face. Maybe we shouldn't. Okay. Andy, an idea. Check for election or post-election years. If an election, a new president creates a bigger gap. Okay, we can look at that. All right, so let's just do, oh, I was looking for, I'm confused now. What was I looking for? Oh, the Makeover Monday color palette. Let's make the falses maybe like a light gray. Something like that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so that stands out pretty good. Oh, I think I actually have American flag colors. Where is it here? I've got a lot of colors. USA, here we go. So I'll make the true that, and maybe the false, the light gray. Okay, so now we can see when does the debt exceed. So this isn't too bad. So debt exceeds GDP. Okay, so the question was check to see election or post-election years. So, right, so to get the election years, I'm going to need to do it every 4 years. So let's do election year. So I want to do the year of the quarter, mod 4. And let's stick that up here and put that there. Okay, so I want to keep just the zeros. Okay, and then if I put that on, oops, if I put that on the filters and pick just true, I should get the election years, 2020, okay. But what I could do here is, I'm not sure if this is, Lucas, if this is what you meant, but maybe I could put this or put election year on color and see what that looks like. So yeah, so I mean it does that. I don't know if that's kind of no. So Denise is saying, do I want the election year? Oh, I always think of it the other way around though, but I could if it makes you happy. Okay, it's just going to shift everything. Okay, so the question was, does an election year create a bigger gap? I don't know, but maybe instead of using this sum of GDP, so let's duplicate this, and instead of using that, let me move that to detail, and then percent of GDP here. And we get something like that, a little roller coaster. And let's see what color, let's go back to our American flag colors. Let's see the true, let's make those blue, and the falses maybe light red. That's terrible color choices. To make the falses like the light gray. Okay, so these would be our election years. So I wouldn't say it necessarily is, let's see, But I think, so check for, I'm just looking back at the question, check for election or post-election years. See if electing a new president creates a bigger gap. Yes, so I would do it the other way around. So I'm going to call this year after election. Because the question was, does electing a new president create, so impact of elections. Okay. Yeah, so that's 20. All right, so let me make this, it might be a bit easier to look at as contiguous, and then make the bars really thin. Okay. So that shows us something, but I don't think there's really any evidence that it kind of impacts it one way or the other. So when Clinton came, this is Clinton's second term, is it not? 2000 to 2004, and then, yeah, this was Bush. Let's see. No, I have that wrong. So 2001 through 2003, right? And then 2004 was the election, post-election. But I don't think either way it's really making a difference. So I would say that that doesn't show me a whole lot. So bins for the decades. So on the heat map, let's see, where was my heat map? Somebody suggested a bin for the decades, I think on this one. So I could say, so decade. And what I'm going to do is, let's see, so no, I want to do, I need to first create a year. Year of quarter. And that's up here. And then I want to create bins. So it should be every 10 years. But that's, yeah, so bins won't work because we need to, so I could strip off the first 3 characters. Okay, so let's do, let me call this decade. And I want to take the, so let's turn this into a string. Okay, and then I want to take the first 3, so left of that, comma 3, and then I want to add on that, like that. So that should give us the decade. So something like that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's okay. But maybe this should be the year. I don't know. Oh no, that's not going to work. Okay, yeah, I don't think that one works. Right, what else was I doing here? I'm just looking through your questions. President control Congress recession. Yeah, so all the data around, you know, presidents, you know, who's in control of Congress, et cetera. Yeah, you could include all that, but I'm not going to have the time to do that. So yeah, I'm just simply not going to have the time to do that. So going back to these websites, so I will provide links to all these websites in the description after I'm done with the video. So what about a scatter plot? So if I look at, oh, I can close the endings. So let me get rid of that. So let's take debt versus GDP by quarter, and we get something like that. Okay, I probably flip them around so that the debt is higher. So this is our scatter plot. And if we put in 2 average lines, yeah, but that's, you can't really, is this seasonally adjusted? So this is a seasonally adjusted annual rate. Okay, so what I could do from here then is I could color code these quadrants. So let's create a calculated field and call it quadrant. And I want to say if sum of GDP is greater than or equal to the window average of the sum of GDP, and the sum of debt is greater than or equal to the window average of the sum of debt. So the window average is what the that's what our reference line is. Then I'm just going to call it upper right. Let's see, we want to call high. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think this is going to work out well. High. I don't know. Worst. Doesn't matter. And then else if. So I could just copy and paste this. Else if is that, and this is less than, so that means the debt is high, that is below, then we'll say high GDP, or higher GDP. I don't know, whatever. This, I'm not going to use this anyway. So if I put that on color and tell it to compute using quarter, you'll see I get these multiple colors here. But it doesn't really tell me a whole hell of a lot. Okay, so that's a scatter plot. Okay, so radar chart, radial bar. Okay, none of the rest of those work. And we're 45 minutes in, so I need to start making a decision here. Change over time. Okay, I think we looked at all of these. Deviation, spark line, slope graph. We did the cycle plot. Okay, horizon chart, timeline. Yeah, we're kind of doing a timeline, except we're not putting the annotations in. I think the only other category to look at here might be relationships. Okay. Yeah, so none of those. Okay, so let me now go to the next one. I just like flipping through these to see if I missed anything. Okay, deviation, tile map we can't really do. Okay, anything here? Bubbles, small multiples, histograms. Okay, not really anything there. I could try this one. Okay. Okay, nothing. Okay, I think we've probably exhausted the options somewhat. So let's try one other thing here. I'm going to do what's called a connected scatter plot. And I'm just going to take the quarter off. And what I'm going to do, I've got a connected scatter plot is basically a scatter plot that you connect over time. So let me get rid of my lines here, and I'm going to make it a line instead and put quarter on the path shelf. And so if I label the ends of the lines, let me do min-max of the year. Okay, so you see this is our starting, because this is a way that you can kind of track it around time. So you can see here that the debt continued to grow even though the GDP shrunk, so you still have to pay your bills. So let me make that as a note. Oops. You still have to pay your bills even if you lose your job. All right, I better save at some point here. Save. Okay, let's see. Makeover Monday 2020. Week 47. US debt versus GDP. Okay. By the way, do you? I know this is the first time that I've been on video, but I mean, does it add anything to the session? I don't know if it does or not. It doesn't really make a difference to me, but I don't know. Anyway, So that's our connected. Another idea I just had was if we look at, let's say we look at quarter, or no, I could just do it this way. Let's put quarter here and make it discrete and put it here. Okay, so we got that going down. I could put my debt to one side and let me make it fit entire view. And I'm going to put the GDP on the same view. Okay, and I'm going to make it a bar chart. So, but what I want is I want the debt to go backwards because the debt is a negative. And now I've got a butterfly chart. So that looks pretty cool. And then, yeah, so this is our, and then what I could do is if I put a dual axis on 0, so on the 0, instead of that being a bar, I could make it maybe text. Where's text? And I could put, let's get rid of that, and I could put the quarter, duplicate down to text, and then I could now hide the header and dual axis and synchronize. Okay, so now what this should be doing is putting the year in the middle. So let me just fit width instead. And now we can see the years as we go down. Yeah. I don't know if I like that or not. What if I make this a line and then label, show mark labels, and then center. Is that gonna, okay, that's gonna be the same thing. Okay. But maybe what I could do is, instead of putting that on the label shelf, I could, maybe I'll just leave that on detail and then put, maybe I'll put, what if I put decade on color? Okay, that didn't do anything, that was stupid. Okay, so let me get rid of that. But on these bars, maybe I move this to detail and put decade on color. And now if I fit entire view, okay. So it's kind of like a swirly thingy. And if I make that let me make this continuous and see what it looks like. Okay, so you make it continuous, it flips it upside down. But I don't think I like that. So I'm going to make it undo twice. Okay, and if I show the header, so that shows us our decades, but maybe we could do maybe the elections. Let's see what that looks like year after election. So it's those stripes. What was the other thing we colored by earlier? It was year after election. The debt is greater than the GDP. So debt, let me just duplicate this. Debt is bigger than GDP. Put that on color. Okay, you can see that most of the years are pretty consistent there. There is a view, let me see here. So let's just go to Tableau Public. There's a particular chart I'm thinking of now that was done by Emily Chen. Emily was in the first cohort of the data school many moons ago. And let's get to her profile. Okay. Oh, that's a different Emily Chen. Okay. Ah, here she is. Okay. So the view from Emily I was thinking of is this one here. How it's kind of like a reverse axis, but I don't remember what she has on each. I think each line is a country. each line is a country's trajectory. Okay, so this one really looks like a tornado, which is kind of what I was thinking about there. So I wonder if I did, how could I do something similar to that? Oh, I don't know if you can hear that chime, the laundry's done. Okay, maybe I should just stick with the connected scatter plot. I know it's quite boring. This one looks cool, but I don't know what else to do with it. If I make it a line, we get something like that. And then if I flip it around, let me just make this continuous. Then it looks like that. But then maybe what I could do is if I duplicate that and I make this an area, I could take that off color. That doesn't matter. I could take that off. No, I need that on there. Make it maybe a lighter color. If I dual axis that, synchronize, move marks to front. It kind of looks like a tornado. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Okay, so using the recession period, you would see an increase in relative. Okay, bottom right, I would say. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, it might be easy to see everything if the video was on the bottom right. Oh, I see. Okay, I can move that. There you go. Hopefully that fixed that for you. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like this one. So what I probably need to do though, because this is, I don't know how to, I'll need to kind of change the axis so that it looks like, they go separate directions. So maybe what I could do is I need to know kind of, I want these to be the same width on either side. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, so our max value, so reference line, so max value. So I want to get the window max of the sum of debt. Okay, and so if that is greater than the window max of the sum of GDP, then sum debt. Else window max. Window max. Else. Okay, so now what this should be able to do is to give me, and then I'm going to duplicate that. And I need an axis on both, so I'll show you here in a second, you'll see. So minus, so max value minus. I'm just going to put a negative sign in front of this whole thing. So I'm going to put both of these fields onto the view. Doesn't really matter. I'll stick them on the area chart. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to put a reference band on here, and I want it to go for the measure values for the table, and I want it to go from the minimum of the max value minus to the maximum of the max value plus. Okay, fill none, untick the recalculate. So let me just put the lines on here now so you can see what it's doing. So no computation, no value. Okay, and then no, oops, none and none. So you can see here what it's done is it's put the reference lines at the same spots on either side. So I'm taking the biggest value in the view and making sure that so now if you look at the axis across the top, 0 is split right in the middle. So let me format that. I'm going to make it a really thin line and go like that. Now you can't really see it, so it's kind of hidden. And okay, let's see. So now I think it's either the connected scatter plot or the tornado. So which one do you all like best? The tornado? I'm not sure if, let's see. So what I could do is, I think what I would probably do is I'm going to edit this axis. Maybe. There we go. I'm going to get rid of the title, and I'm going to hide the tick marks. Okay, and then for this axis, I'm going to edit the axis, and I'm also going to major tick marks, none, no, automatic, none. Okay, and I think what I want to do is I want to have those tick marks, none. But my title, I'm going to put, actually, I'll just get rid of, that was stupid. Let me just undo all the way back because I don't need to do any of that. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to hide the header. Because what I want to do is I want to say, so the left side is, let's see, what is the left side? The left side is the debt. So I'm just going to say more debt. And maybe I'll do, I can fix this later. And then more GDP. So now I should get, hide that. And yeah, so I think that's, I don't like the way the arrows look. Maybe I'll just stick some kind of, so, but what I would do for the zero lines is to make it a nice looking zero on there. What's another way I could do this? Because I'd really like to have the years going down the middle. Okay, so I've got an idea. So I'm going to do a reference band on the quarters. And I'm going to have it go from the max to the min. And the label is going to be the value, no tooltip. The value, no tooltip. No fill. Turn off to recalculate. Okay, so now what I can do is I'm going to format that and maybe stick them in the middle. And then stick them in the middle like that and get rid of the shading. Okay, so now I can see kind of the beginning and the ends of the years, which look terrible. So let me undo that. So I like the 2021. Oh, crap. I don't really like this. I like the idea, but it didn't work. All right. So you see, this is like when you get into formatting hell. Okay. Yeah, so like the look of the scatter plot. So we got both. I think if I go back to the connected scatter plot, one thing I could do is if I duplicate the debt onto the column shelf, you'll see I just get this continuously straight line. So if I, let me just make that, let me just turn it off and turn off the labels on that one. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. I want to have it, yeah, that's fine. And if I put maybe a reference line on this one, so I want to do it on that. And no, not a reference line, that's wrong. I want to do a trend line, linear on debt against debt. Okay, so, and now if I make this a dual axis and I synchronize, you can see kind of the crossing of the paths there. What happened here to color? What happened there? Measure names, take that off color. Okay, there we go. So the good thing about this now is you can see where it crossed. So this is similar to what Yanning did, but as a as a connected scatter plot instead. So by putting debt on both axes, I'm creating a perfect 45-degree angle. Okay, so what I could do then is maybe I'll format this. Oh, God, I hate this stupid recalculate. Trend line, edit trend line. Do not recalculate. Trend line per color, linear. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now I just want to format the trend line. Trend lines. What if I do it like that? What is that going to look like? That's terrible. That's terrible. It's not quite as terrible. God, I don't like the look of that. What if I just make it a solid line? No, that's not good either. Okay, I just don't quite like the look of that. Maybe I'll just leave it like that for now. Maybe I'll make it like a lighter gray or something. But now if I wonder if I put that color on here now, the debt greater than GDP onto the line. That didn't work. Why is that not working? Oh, because I have the color set to that. Oh, but I put it on the wrong field, that's why, dumb. Okay, so I need to go here, oops. Put that all the way down. And then I need to put that on the line, not the, okay, so there we go. So now we can see where it crosses. So it's kind of a similar view to what Yanning did, except I'm doing it with a connected scatter plot. So I think I kind of like this one. Okay, let me look through the comments here. Okay. Okay. I don't know what, Hitesh, what part are you referring to that you didn't know you could do? If you just leave a comment, I can maybe show it again so other people know what you're talking about. Okay, so now maybe I should make the false like a lighter blue or something. Maybe if I make the false, where is it here? Maybe I'll make the false like a light blue. Yeah, now we can see when the debt. So maybe on the okay, so on the debt to, so let's go here, and I'm going to put quarter onto label, but I'm also going to put debt as a percent of GDP onto label. Okay, and then format. And does it matter if that is 2 decimals or 1 decimal? 130, yeah, I'll just leave it like that, that's fine. So clear. Okay. Okay. We need some preferences we could turn on and off in Tableau. Okay, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. So I'm going to format this again. I think I'm going to go with this chart now. I'm going to get rid of my row and column dividers. I'm going to get rid of my zeros. And let's see. Okay, so let's look at the labels here. And let's make this nice and big. And let's make this one maybe a lighter gray. Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. Okay. Does it make sense that I'm putting a percentage on there where you added more debt and higher GDP with rows at the top of the trend? Oh, okay. So what Hitesh is talking about is I think we're at more debt and high GDP with arrows. Oh yeah, so you can always just double click in a shelf and just write it. It's no different than, so what I could do is if I drag that over now, it just saves it as a calculation, but it's the same idea. I'm just putting it in there as a as the calculation said. I really like the tornado, but I don't think I can get it to look the way that I want and be happy with it. Okay, gosh, I'm really torn. Which one I think looks best? Okay, so let's move this to the front. All right. All right, let's see. So this is what, oh, there was some, let's see. So let's do a Google search on debt as percent of GDP chart. Let's see if there's any good like commentary I could add on here. Images. Okay. So what's this here? So this one has the Great Recession. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So this is 2012 Q4 through 2015 Q3. Okay, so this is kind of the financial crisis. How could I add? Let's see. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put the Great Recession. No, the Reagan era. W. Let's see. Let's see what the Fed has on here. So what are the gray? I forget what the gray things mean on here. Let's see the guide. U.S. recessions are shaded in the most recent area. Okay, so this starts Q1 2008 through Q3 2009. Okay, so let me just draw a Q3 2008. Let me see if I can just mark this. What was it again? It was Q3 of 2008 through Q2 of 2009. Okay, so it's around there, that line, and then Q. Say quarter. Gosh, I keep forgetting now. So Q2. Okay, so let's annotate an area. Let's call this the. What do they refer to this as? Oh God, I'm just completely drawing a blank now. World War II. Okay. I mean, we could put some kind of annotations in here for Clinton, Bush, whatever. Supply siders start voodoo. So Reagan was from 94. So it's really hard to see the dates on. Oh, maybe I'll just turn all of the labels on for now. Or let's see, labels. All. Okay, that's fine. And then we could allow the overlap. I think for now I'll just get rid of the debt on there. Just leave it like that. Oh, that's really bad. I'm just trying to decide if I should shade areas, which I think I should. I just don't know how quite to do it to make it look good. So Clinton. Okay, so but the big uptick was right here. So this is the let's see, what could we call this? The US debt to GDP. Wow, that's a really terrible chart. World War II. I'm just trying to find some Reagan, Bush Jr. Just trying to find some good ways to label those areas. Okay, then why don't I just try US Recession Dates. Okay. Right, so 1981, what I wanted to look at was, so December 2007, so that's Q4 of 2007 through June of 2009. Okay, Q4 of 2007 through Q2 of 2009. Okay, so roughly that area. Okay, so annotate area, and they call this the Great Recession, and that's fine. I can format it later. So it's going to go from about here to here, I think. So Q2. Okay, so Q3, no, Q4. Very, very fiddly. Okay, that's good enough, Q4, until June 2009. Okay, something like that. So now, am I able to kind of, maybe I'll just leave it like that. And I can put a, if I format this, and I put the border on the side. Can I do it on just the side? I forget. Box, single edge. None. Oh crap, how do I do it? But I don't want it to do that. I want it to just have it on a single edge. So why is it not letting me do that? Okay, let me try something different then. Annotate. Let me try annotate mark. And I think with this one, I would now be able to put a single edge and line. There we go. Yeah, so I just used the wrong type. And then I'll just get rid of the line. But now I can make this bigger. Oh, can I? Let's see if that works. Yeah, so now I can make it a bit bigger to start. And it's pretty close. Stupid. God, this formatting stuff is such a pain in the ass. Okay, but see, I can't like shrink the size of it. It's like super annoying. Well, anyway, you get the idea, but I don't like it anyway, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay, so let's see, is there a way? There's no other way for me to put like a reference band on there or anything, which is unfortunate. Okay, maybe I'll just mark this one point. Let me get rid of that. Create mark, annotate mark. So start of Great Recession. Okay, and then I will format single edge. Let's make that a strong edge line end. Maybe we'll do something like that. A dot and no shading. Okay, so we get something like that, start of the Great Recession. And then this would be COVID So annotate mark COVID-19. What are they calling it here though? COVID-19. Yep. Helps if I could spell. Okay. Oh, I hate it when you can't get the line just right. Okay, so single edge. We made that no shading. I think I made it black. And then that with a ball on the end. You see how it's like ever so slightly out of alignment? That really drives me crazy. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see. Maybe I'll just call this Great Recession then, not start of. And then, so what else do we have in here? That's 2008. I think this is probably when 9/11 started. That's when the debt started decreasing. This is the Clinton years where it started going down. Okay, I think that's enough. I need to come up with a title now. So let's worksheet caption. Okay, so if any of you can make that tornado chart work well, I would love to see it because I think it looks pretty cool. And I may have a play around with it again too, but I just can't. For some reason, it just doesn't look quite right to me. So let me also format this. I think I can probably get rid of the grid lines. Let's see. Yeah, I think what I'll do also though is I will put the let's see, the debt and the GDP onto the label as well. Will that work? No, that's okay. So now I need to come up with a catchy title. So what's this one called? It says, okay, maybe I'll use some of the text they had written before. Okay. So since the Great America's national debt, oh, you know what, this will be much easier. There's some, oh, I hope this website still works. There we go. So you can just check all that in and copy and then paste. America's national debt has surged near 200%, reaching 27 trillion as of October. I don't think I can say October because our data goes through. Mine goes through. Let's see. That's the third quarter. Is that the debt? But we're not looking at the debt. So this goes through April. Let's see. First, so April, May, June 2020. How about I need to come up with something a bit catchier here. Can we make the band in the dashboard and float behind it? I probably could, but yeah, I'm trying to Okay. How about something like, let me just put this, I'm going to leave it here. Do stimulus packages work? Let's see, what I'm trying to say here is, so you can see with the 2 stimulus packages how quickly debt has risen. How about America needs to pay its bills? And then what I could do is, if I go back to this website, I'm going to change this to sentence case and paste. Maybe put that at like 12 point. Put this one in maybe America now owes 36% more. How can I say that? Now owes 36% more in debt than it takes in for, let's see, maybe that's good enough. Okay, so let me save again. I'm going to stick it in a dashboard, call it a day. Okay. All right, so where should I'm wondering if I should change, I need to that's okay, I'll just leave it like that. So dashboard, kill the phone layout. First thing I always do, maybe I'll make it like, I don't know, 800 by 600 or something, floating. I'm going to bring in my connected scatter plot. I don't think I need that. So let's go 0, 0, 800, 600. I'm going to put in 20 of inner padding. Okay, so this is now too big, so let me make that. Let me try 11. This should be October with a capital O. This should be June. Okay, so that needs to be, I want it to be on one line. Okay, and this can probably be smaller. How about it's time for America to pay its bills, and it should be like that. Okay, and then hit OK, and then I want to show the caption because that has my credits in it. Okay, I'm going to put a bit more space around it. Debt GDP. Let's rename. Stupid, come on. Okay, but what I need to fix my tooltips. I forgot to do that. So GDP and debt. So GDP. So in the view, I should have, I'll put those both on the tooltip. Format, pane. I want to do it as a number, billions dollars. And then for the debt, Oops, $1 billion. Okay, so what does that look like now? My tooltips. Ooh. So, yeah, I need to make it trillions. That's why. So let's just make it. I think what I can do, if I remember right, is I can go into custom now, and I can make this a T. And that should take care of it. So, no, shoot. I just did this a few weeks ago. I think I need to put three more commas in, I think. Oh, crap. I just did this, and I forget how to do it. Okay. So trillions. So copy, and let's see if that does it. I think I just had too many commas in there. Okay, there we go, cool. So, but I only want it to be 1 decimal. Oh, that's okay, 3.2, yeah, that's fine. And then for the debt, let's format. Yeah, I just had too many. I had too many commas. Okay. Okay, so June, this looks really good. Thank you. Okay, debt crisis is killing. No, I don't think it's killing anything. Okay, so let's call this Makeover Monday 2020, week 47. Oh, I didn't finish cleaning up my tooltips. Connected scatter plot. So what do I have here? Quarter debt versus GDP. So I'm going to remove that from the tooltip, and now I can clean the whole thing up. So quarter, let's make this a bigger number. Debt as percent of GDP. Okay, I think I'm okay with them otherwise. Yep. Okay. So now I just need to play around with the formatting here because I don't like the maybe something like that. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you very much for, I think debt is displayed in pounds. Oh, in pounds, not dollars. Thank you. I probably hit the pound sign because I'm used to typing that now. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Let me fix that. So, which one? It's debt format. And this should be, oh, well, that's interesting. It says dollars. That's weird. What the heck? Oh, I did. It's GDP that's wrong. Format. Oh, what the heck happened to my number? Maybe I did it twice. Dollar. But why is it giving me pound signs? This is really, really stupid, Tableau. I mean, oops. Clearly, that is a dollar sign. That is stupidly annoying. Maybe what I'll do then is I will just get rid of these and I'll just manually stick a go to debt, and I'll just manually take out the number signs, and in the tooltip I'll just go ahead and just put a dollar sign in the front. I shouldn't have to do that, but okay. There we go. All right. That's it. Everybody, thank you for attending. Hope you enjoyed this. I know it was very long. I appreciate everybody that tunes in every week. Don't forget, tomorrow night we have the Ask Me Anything, and you can find all the details on YouTube. And so, yeah, I think that's it. Everybody, have a great day.